Macedonian community, but also a longtime friend of my father's, John Bitove. Tonight I would like to introduce Stefan Nikolov and Helen Yanovsky as the recipients of the Bitove Scholarship in the amount of $1,500 each. Stefan Nikolov is born in Toronto and is currently working towards a Master's in Modern and Contemporary Art at Christie's in London, England. Stefan has a Bachelor of Fine Arts from OCAD in Toronto, as well as a Bachelor of Education. His exposure to Macedonian folk culture was through the Seliani Macedonian folklore group, whom his parents are founding members, James and Dina Nikolov, as well as his political conversations between his father, Jim Nikolov, and his maternal grandfather, Ted Evans Kolensov. Both contributed greatly to Stefan's strong sense of Macedonian identity and wider interest in Macedonian culture and history. Stefan is also a Gaida player who has given generously from a very young boy of his time playing for events involving the Macedonian community. In 2009, in Macedonia, he was awarded the Zlatna Gaida Award. As Stefan is presently away at school in England, UMD will be wiring his scholarship award directly to his school. Helen Yanovsky, who is here with us this evening, is a fourth-year university student pursuing a Bachelor of Arts degree in Geography and Urban Studies. She is also in the concurrent education program at York. Some of her interests include gentrification, public versus private space, adaptive reuse, and gated communities. Helen is of Macedonian descent. Currently, she is gaining experience as a development intern with the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, or MPAC, at their headquarters in Pickering. She is also a teacher candidate at Markville Secondary School, and in future, Helen hopes to become a high school teacher. So I would like to welcome Helen Yanovsky to the podium, and I would also like to ask Jim Nikolov on behalf of Stefan Nikolov to come up here. And Dad, my father John Bitove.
would have to say something about the gentleman that I've known all my life. First, I would like to thank the United Macedonian Organization for holding this event in honor of a great Macedonian, a family that's been involved in the Macedonian community all their lives, the founder of the United Macedonian Organization in Canada, the founders of St. Clement's Church, that's Jim Saunders and his family. I've known Jim for many, many years, and Jim always preached and talked about Macedonia. His love for Macedonia, I know, is very close to his heart. And as I say, I'm really thankful to the organization, United Macedonians, for holding this event in his honor. At the same time, Otes Nicodemus, you heard what he had to say. I don't really believe that the majority of you know what he really goes through in Greece. This man has suffered like none other. As far as I'm concerned, he's like Jesus Christ of the Macedonians within the Aegean part of Macedonia. and let it be known that truly and sincerely, I've been involved in many Macedonian organizations in my lifetime. But the one that stands out and accomplishes more and does more for the Macedonian cause throughout the entire world is these young people that are involved in the United Macedonian Organization. Nikolevsky and Jim and Mark Branoff and all the rest of them. They are so devoted. They are so committed. I don't honestly believe that the majority of you understand the devotion, the sincerity, and how they work and strive to assist in the Macedonian cause. They are accomplishing more than ever before. And I would like to say to anyone who has relatives and friends in the United States of America, please tell them to vote Republican. Not because I'm a Republican, but because the Greeks within the Democratic Party in the United States will never allow the Democratic government to accept and recognize Macedonia, whereas the Republicans did recognize it before, and I can guarantee you that if Romney gets elected, they will again. I say this because it's so important that we get and let everyone know that they must support those who will support us. And Saunders, again I say I'm honored to be here for you this evening, and I compliment you from the bottom of my heart. One more thing. Sorry. 23 years ago, I met a young lady who was sitting at my table tonight. And the purpose of our meeting was that she had just come back from Macedonia, from Skopje. She was well-versed in the Macedonian language, and she wanted to do something about teaching Macedonian at the University of Toronto. I am so honored that she and I met 23 years ago. I supported her then. I made it happen with her, and she's continued to support, in the name of Macedonia, the Macedonian tradition and name more than anyone. Sorry I didn't see her name. Christine Kramer, Professor Christine Kramer.
Really entrenched and involved. And thank you so much for your passion, Mr. Bitove. Thank you, Vonna. And congratulations, Helen. Now, I would actually like to introduce to you a really good friend of mine, Meto Koloski. He is the president of the United Macedonian Diaspora's Global Operations. Meto is one of the co-founders of the UMD, and that started back in 2004. He was elected president in 2008. And became a full-time employee in 2009 and works out of UMD's Washington, D.C. headquarters. Now, he has grown UMD throughout the United States to expand to Australia, Canada, and throughout Europe as well. He's become synonymous with the UMD brand, and his dedication, passion, and love for Macedonia is exemplary. Please welcome Meto Koloski.
Thank you, Liz, for your kind words. How about a round of applause for our great MC this evening? Добър вечер. Задоволство ми е да съм помежду вас пак во Торонто. Good evening. It is a sincere pleasure and honor to be amongst you again in Toronto. Toronto has become a second home to me. Thank you all for being here tonight and supporting the efforts of UMD. I want to thank my colleagues on the board of directors, Stoyan Nikolov, who traveled from Massachusetts, Jim Dykos, Goran Saveski, and also UMD Director of PR and Communications, Mark Ronald, for being here tonight. Liz said it, but Jim, this gala would not have been possible without you, my friend. especially in the support of his beautiful wife, Millie. I wish our community had more people like Jim. Jim has devoted his entire energy and time these last few months in planning this gala. A special thanks goes to our advisory council members and Macedonian companions who have stood by our work throughout these years. Thank you all. I cannot thank our sponsors enough for their valuable and much needed support to make this gala happen. Thank you very much. Now a little personal story. When I was 16, my father died from cancer. His amanet, an old Macedonian word for wish, was for me to carry on his passion for the Macedonian cause and to fight for the injustices committed against Macedonia to be corrected. He was a true patriot, and today he would have been proud to see me stand before you all. When I moved to Washington, D.C. in 2003, there was no voice for Macedonians. A group of us young students and young professionals met at a Starbucks, believe it or not, to start what would today become the United Macedonian Diaspora. At first, we thought we would just go to various events and meetings to make sure the Macedonian side of the story was heard. Little did we imagine, 8-9 years later, UMD would have its headquarters right next door to the White House, with prime access to Washington policymakers, think tanks, and the diplomatic community. Our efforts led to opening offices here in Toronto and in Melbourne, Australia. Today, UMD is the leading organization representing Macedonians and Macedonian communities throughout the world. I invite you all here today to come visit us in Washington, turn it into a family trip, and get involved, attend our events. In March, we will organize our first ever leadership conference, which will host leaders of all Macedonian community organizations for a weekend period to discuss the pressing issues of our community so we can form a united policy approach to issues that matter most to us. I would also like to note that for the first time, UMD was able to publish a full-page op-ed with a photo and a caption, a country called Macedonia in Canada's National Post newspaper, which was read by millions in print and online worldwide back in November of 2011. If you didn't see it, it's a little smaller, but it was much larger than this. And also in August of this year, BNN, Canada's business news network, who's represented today by Vijay here on our table, did a 10-minute interview in English with Macedonia's Prime Minister Nikola Gruevski about investing in Macedonia. Both of these were arranged as a result of the contacts of our advisory council member and tonight's MC, Liz Naumovsky. And I want to stress that through UMD's network of professionals, UMD is best suitable to promote Macedonia and the Macedonian cause. But that doesn't mean that all the other organizations are not doing what they should be doing. They're all doing a lot, and tonight we will honor Mr. James Saunders, and I will refer to that in a few moments. I would also like you all to mark your calendars for July 25th through August 3rd. Come to Macedonia for our 4th global conference to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Treaty of Bucharest, which divided our nation in 3 countries. UMD urges Macedonians today to look to the future, while never forgetting the injustices committed against our people during this tragic period of our past. It is time we put an end to the double standard inherent in many historical accounts, and it is time we educated the public on what happened to the Macedonians during and after the Balkan Wars. UMD strongly believes that the current governments of Bulgaria, Greece, and Serbia must come to terms with atrocities committed by their past governments against the Macedonian people during the Balkan Wars period and following. Such recognition will serve the interest of peaceful reconciliation in the region. This last week has been a tremendous opportunity for Macedonians to bring awareness about our challenges in Aegean Macedonia. We have the privilege of hosting Archimandrite Nikodim Tsarknias and UMD's Greece representative Eugenia Natsoulidou for a series of meetings in Congress.
So I would just like to thank you again on behalf of my family for celebrating my grandfather and my grandmother and for recognizing the lifetime that they have dedicated dedicated to our beautiful community. God bless you. Živo Macedonia, Viva Quebecois.
Thank you so much for that heartfelt and beautiful tribute to your grandfather. You know, we all talk about how small the world is, and when you're Macedonian, the world becomes so much smaller. It's like we're 5 people that pretty much know all the 5 people within it. At the Macedonian Film Festival last week, I had the privilege of meeting Mr. Saunders because his son's film was being premiered at the Macedonian Film Festival on Sunday. And talk about a small world. Paul Saunders and I used to work together 32 years ago. And this is the first time that I saw him after the 32 years when I first met him. So don't count the years or anything, because that'll age us really badly. But you know, when you're Macedonian, you know everyone, you know each other. So congratulations on your UMD Lifetime Achievement Award, Mr. Saunders. I cannot thank you enough for your passion and all the tenacity and everything that you've done for 70 years to serve our wonderful community. We really are blessed to have you. Now to conclude our formal program, it truly has been a privilege for me and an honor to have been invited by UMD to serve as tonight's MC. As a member of the Advisory Council, I see firsthand what these extraordinary individuals do in their spare time. They serve on the UMD board, our staff in the Washington offices and the Toronto offices, and what they're doing is amazing work right now. Now for me personally, other than dancing in Makedonka for all those years, I have never membered on any other Macedonian organization. So I joined UMD, and I also serve on the board of the Macedonian Film Festival, which, as I said, we just held our 7th annual last weekend. And these are 2 organizations that have given me personally great hope for our community and immense pride in my heritage, and I really am proud to be Macedonian. Now, UMD is leading our communities worldwide to a new level of advocacy and professionalism, and I'm forever grateful for their hard work. However, in order for their hard work to continue, they really do need your support. And there are envelopes on your table. We ask you to contribute, please, by making a small donation, whatever it is, whatever your small amount is. It does not matter because it helps. When you have the opportunity, if you have made a donation, please bring your envelope to the registration table. The donations are all tax deductible, and you will get the fullest extent of the Canadian tax law, and all donors will receive a receipt. So thank you so much for your generosity tonight. Now, before we conclude this evening's formal program, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for being here and supporting and attending tonight and supporting the hard work of UMD in promoting the Macedonian cause. Thank you to the sponsors who made this event possible. Tonight's music is provided by Grupa Rumba, and I am certain you will all enjoy their music and dance your feet off this evening. Again, thank you so much for being here and supporting UMD and the Macedonian cause worldwide. Have a wonderful evening. Da žive Makedonija I makedonski narod. Good night, everyone.
Hero.
Department. Before I continue, let me tell you, in just the last year, I've had 4 meetings with the State Department Office of International Religious Freedom. The State Department has not reported about the plight of the Macedonian Orthodox people since 2007. I stressed to them that the issue of Archimandrite Tsarknias is serious. Now, I'm embarrassed to say this, but do you know what one official asked me? Well, isn't he a homosexual and a pedophile? Are you sure you want to be urging support for him? Can you believe this? I couldn't. I can assure you, my friends, the Greek community is working day and night to ensure that all Macedonians are painted in a negative light. And another thing is, the tactics that they use, Eugenia didn't mention it, but when this whole issue about the language classes happened, they printed her address in the newspaper. And you probably all remember Anastasia Karakasidou, the author from back in the early 90s, when her address was plastered on every single Greek newspaper because she wrote a book telling the truth. Allow me to highlight 2 things here. One is that Archimandrite Tsarknias and Eugenia Natsoulidou, together with representatives from the Albanian and Turkish native communities in Greece, spoke before an audience of approximately 50 think tank scholars and diplomatic community representatives on the rise of extremism in Greece and its impact it's having on minorities, including our very own, the Macedonian native community. Is this recent rise of extremism with the Golden Dawn Party a new phenomenon, or embedded within Greek society? Ladies and gentlemen, sadly, it is embedded and has continued for well over a century against our people and other groups who all they want are basic rights to live peacefully as equal class citizens. 2, the State Department hosted a roundtable on this very topic, and Archimandrite Tsarknias, who mentioned in his speech, had the rare opportunity to meet with the Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom, appointed by President Obama. Ambassador Johnson Cook listened carefully to Archimandrite Tsarknias' story and vowed to assist to make sure Greece is fulfilling its international obligations for religious freedom. This is the first time ever that such a high-level official of the U.S. administration has met with a member of the Macedonian Orthodox Church. My colleague, whom you all know very well, Mark Branoff, led the delegation to Ottawa for 2 days after Washington and met with numerous members of Parliament. The same event hosted in Washington on Tuesday was hosted this past Thursday at the University of Ottawa and organized by Canadian Lawyers Abroad Association, thus giving our message a broader audience. On Wednesday, my colleague Anna David and I said goodbye to Archimandrite Tsarknias and Eugenia, who were leaving for Ottawa. As we turned to walk away, Anna said to me, "Meto, I am motivated more than ever to work for the Macedonian cause." Now, Anna is 25 years old, so you can imagine how it felt to hear her say that. Archimandrite Tsarknias and Eugenia inspired us so much and gave us even more hope to continue our worthy cause for the Macedonian people. Tonight, I congratulate Helen Yankuski and Stefan Nikolov for being awarded a UMD Bitove scholarship. Helen and Stefan, you deserve it, and I know you will make us proud upon the completion of your studies. I thank Mr. Bitove and the Bitove Family Foundation for providing these much-needed scholarships for our aspiring Macedonians. When I was growing up, there was no Macedonian scholarship in New Jersey. I am pleased that today young Macedonians anywhere in the world can apply for this scholarship. One of UMD's top priorities is investing in our future generations through these scholarships, internship programs in Washington, D.C., and through Generation M, our Future Leaders program. Now, it is my distinct pleasure and honor to recognize a truly distinguished Canadian Macedonian leader who has made a huge impact over 7 decades fighting for a free, independent, and sovereign Macedonia. His dedication and passion has been an inspiration, and he has been a true role model for Macedonian diaspora activism. By founding the United Macedonians of Canada, James Saunders gave a voice to our people during an era when we would only dream of one day having an independent state of our own. He has been a pillar in our community for decades, and his pioneering efforts on behalf of Macedonian human rights will long be cherished and remembered. The UMD Lifetime Achievement Award recognizes outstanding individuals who have made a vital impact on society at large in advancing the Macedonian cause. In recognition of his leadership, philanthropy, and patriotism, the UMD Board of Directors unanimously selected James Saunders to be this year's recipient of the award. Before I read Mr. Saunders' brief bio, I want to mention that past honorees include George Athanasowski, Mr. John Bitove, and the late Kiro Gligorov, the first president of Macedonia. In 1925, James Saunders was born in the village of Željevo, Aegean Macedonia, only 12 years after the territory was annexed by Greece for the first time in history from Ottoman Empire. His father Spiro immigrated to Canada and worked diligently to send money back to the old country. In April of 1938, at the age of 13, James immigrated to Canada along with his mother Sophia, brother Chris, and sister Sally. James Saunders is perhaps best known as the founding father of the United Macedonians of Canada, a vital organization to the development of the Canadian Macedonian community today, an important pioneer in promoting and protecting Macedonian culture and human rights. He was elected as the first president of the United Macedonians of Canada and served 2 terms, first from 1959 to 1966, and then again from 1974 to 1975. Mr. Saunders was also instrumental in bringing the Macedonian Orthodox Church to Canada. As president of United Macedonians, he invited the Holy Synod from Skopje to come to Toronto and attend Toronto's famous United Macedonians Eating Din Picnic, which is held every year and still is on August 2nd. As usual, the picnic was a huge success with thousands from North America in attendance, and it gave the Macedonian community in Toronto a chance to demonstrate their support for a new church with the bishop and other dignitaries in attendance. This initiative sent a clear signal, and it became the first steps towards the dream of building a Macedonian Orthodox cathedral in Canada. In October of 1962, the provincial government of Ontario granted a church charter, and this beautiful church, St. Clement's of Ohrid Cathedral, was built 2 years later. James' father Spiro was the first selected president. James Saunders is known as a passionate, devoted, and trusted patriarch of the Canadian Macedonian community. In 2008, he wrote an autobiography, Times of My Life, which also serves as a poignant and revealing history of Toronto's Macedonian community from 1938 to present day. In this book, James appeals to the future generation of Macedonian activists. And he says, and I think we all need to remember these words, avoid division and avoid splits. Our people were always split. Our country was always split. Division doesn't solve problems, it creates problems. Words of wisdom for all of us to live by today. James Saunders, who's joined by many of his family here tonight, has 1 son, 2 daughters, 8 grandchildren, 4 great-grandchildren, and thousands of friends and fans. He and his wife, Dorothy, have been married 67 years. Pardon, I didn't mean to make you older than and they live in Toronto. UMD is proud to recognize James Saunders, an inspiration, a community leader, a proud husband, father, and grandfather, a philanthropist, and a patriotic Macedonian. Please rise in honor of James Saunders.
This is a great honor. Thank you very much. Guests from the old country, it's a pleasure to see you here and speak the way you did, explaining to us. I left many, many years ago the old country, and looking at you reminds me of my village. The days when I was a young man, the language was forbidden by law. No Macedonian was allowed to be spoken. And today, in the 12th year of that we're living in, we still have problems. It's unspeakable. Thank you, Bitove, for the honor. It's I'm very happy. Thank you very much, Jimmy. Mark, my granddaughter will say a few words for me.
I'm very honored to be here and to speak on behalf of my family, the Saunders family. Canadian Macedonians have a past worthy of pride and a future worthy of excitement and endeavor. And no one has instilled in us this belief more than my grandfather, James Saunders. Dedo James has been a man who has straddled different timelines. At the same time, he has been a protector of the past, and he has also embraced the future and the challenges and exciting and new comings that it has run. Dedo's on Facebook, and I don't think most people can say that their grandfather has over 100 friends, so he's accomplished in many regards. Our family is incredibly elated to see Dedo James recognized for his efforts and endeavors, because his work for the Macedonian community truly has been a labor of love, and it has been a constant one. From his involvement with St. Clemens, to the United Macedonians, to his book, Times of My Life, Dedo has been committed to strengthening our community and celebrating our heritage. Dedo, the stories you have told us and the legacy you have built will be passed along to future generations, and that's a gift that none of us can begin to thank you for. If our wealth is measured by the strong community ties that we have, by our sense of belonging, and by the joy that we take in celebrating our Macedonian roots, then we are all, each of us in this room, incredibly rich and very blessed people. But I I know that my grandfather could not have accomplished all that he has without a very incredible woman beside him, and that is my grandmother, Baba Dorothy Saunders.